For today's podcast, we've got a special treat. We're going to talk to Ellie Sena-Martin. And Ellie, we're so glad you came in, and you are the new president of the EVSC Foundation. So welcome.
Thank you.
Well, it's glad to have you. I know this has been kind of a whirlwind. You haven't been on the job terribly long. So just before we even dig into the foundation, Ellie, and what's going on there and all the great things that your organization does, just tell us briefly about yourself, because I know you're new to the foundation, but you're not really new to EVSC.
Yes. So I started my career after college in EVSC as an ESL itinerant teacher, and I traveled to different schools and kind of offered ESL services. That means I did elementary in the morning, high school in the afternoon, and then after working for EVSC, I also taught middle school. So I've been a teacher at all
Okay.
grade levels at this point, multiple buildings.
And that's
Um,
English as a second language for
English as
someone
a
listening who
second
may not
language.
know that, which
Yay.
we have a lot of different languages spoken now in our community. So,
Yeah.
such a tremendous job that your former team did and continues to do.
Yeah.
So,
And
so then now you've joined the foundation. So, before we even talk more about the foundation, I know right about the time you were starting, there was kind of a major announcement. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so folks may have known about the Public Education Foundation as a very strong nonprofit in our community, and they've had a long-standing, successful set of programs supporting educators through grants and students through the summer musical. So we've come together as two foundations that are now supporting public education in our region and are one organization, which means we are carrying both the EVSC Foundation's initial programs and initiatives and those of the Public Education Foundation. And it became effective January 1st of this year. And we are continuing on with teacher grants, the summer musical, previous events from PEF, as well as our normal set of programming with the EVSC Foundation.
And really, I know when you think about it, and I remember talking to you about this, and you were talking to others about this, of course, countless conversations. Really, these were two organizations that, while they were unique, they were serving a very similar purpose, and that is to help our kids. So,
Mhm.
really, from an efficiency standpoint, it just made perfect sense to join forces and come together under one umbrella.
Yeah, and I think historically, or the two organizations started in different places, but throughout the years, that goal and purpose of serving teachers and educators in our community became a convergence point. And I think it had been a conversation for a number of years. How can we be more efficient? How can we be more strategic in the ways in which we support schools, specifically public schools? And this was a good opportunity the past year or so to revisit, as both organizations were in the middle of strategic planning, leadership succession. And so I think it's been a nice opportunity to see what is in the lay of the land, to build on previous strong legacies, and then think towards the future. What do we need now? How can we do this better than maybe we were doing separately?
So, when you think about people listening to this, Ellie, that maybe not are not terribly familiar with the work of the EVSC Foundation, and I think you alluded to this, Public Ed Foundation had been around longer, and they may have heard one of the key aspects of that, the summer musical, of course, which is a phenomenal production every year, but maybe they're not as familiar with so many other things that go on, because
Mhm.
it's more than just two or three things, that's for sure. So, for people that are listening to this asking, what does the foundation do? I assume it helps kids in
Mhm.
EVSC schools, but how does it help? Tell us a little bit about some of the great things you all do and how their support can help you to support our families and students.
Well, I would say the EVSC Foundation and Public Education Foundation have had that goal of strengthening the programming for both educators and students. So there's been support in terms of grants for educators, either classroom enrichment projects or professional development, other school projects. There's also been support for district wide initiatives. So sometimes we support educators in writing grants that will go across the whole district, like for social and emotional learning. There's also support for school specific programs, whether it be athletics, academics, arts, and music in specific schools. And we support schools through our Evansville Teachers Federal Credit Union Affinity Card program. We have some specific donor directed funds that go directly to each one of our schools. We also offer support through scholarships for graduating students. There's a myriad of other smaller programs as well. Donors come to us and say, I'm really passionate about special education. Is there something we could do about that? And we say, hey, there's a need at this particular school. We can help you make that connection and streamline the flow of, resources from the community to schools.
And
And
I've
then,
heard you say that before, and I've
yeah.
heard others with the foundation say that you're really trying to align people's interests and passions. And I'm talking about a potential
Mhm.
donor, if you will, who says, I have a passion for something. They can talk to you and say, how can I make this passion into something that can help kids? And that's where you really serve as is that liaison to make that happen.
Yeah. And I think our goal would be that people would think about us as that bridge and that hub. If you see a need in a school and you are excited to bring resources and help meet that need, come connect with us and we can help you make that happen. If you're on the other side as a donor and you think, well, I don't know what to do, but I have this interest in public education, we can connect you to principals, teachers, different schools who may have programs already going that you could support, as well as kind of those expansive program opportunities like the summer musical, children's theater, and other opportunities PF had sponsored for a number of years, just expanding what we can't provide for our students so the whole community benefits.
So you can either really continue to support all of the many, many things you've already mentioned that are in place, or your support really could help to envision something brand new.
That's true. And I feel like Maureen Barton, my predecessor at the EVSC Foundation, had done a great job of kind of making those connections where she would meet a donor and say, I hear you're interested in this particular program. Let me show you what we have. And if we don't have something like that, let's dream up with a school what might be another need that is close to your heart, that you're passionate about so that it can have that synergy. And I know the Public Education Foundation for many years had also connected donors through endowments for particular activities or schools that they were passionate about. And what I'm finding as a new person to both organizations is, well, the need is great, and that we know as former teacher and being in schools, but there's also a very generous community in our region that is thinking about public education, is thinking about educators, may not know exactly what to do, but is right there whenever we call on them to say, hey, we have a student need, it's an emergency, something happened at home, or we want to bless these students with some Christmas presents. This may not be the time of the year when their families could provide in this special way. And we have board members, we have community members that come around those initiatives, and we support from longstanding programs to donor directed things to specific needs that come from schools.
And then one more thing I don't think we've touched on yet, but I know this program falls under you. Such a major support to many of our students in our community, and that's Hangers. You want to talk to us briefly about what Hangers does?
Yes. And I would say right along there with hangers is teacher locker.
And
So,
Teacher Locker, which is newer.
yeah.
But yeah, tell us about both, if you would,
Yeah.
just what they are.
So Hanger started as a Evansville Parent Teachers Association initiative. And when I was a student teacher, they were at Washington Middle School, just kind of an idea of providing for students who needed clothing and basic hygiene products. They came into the foundation a few years ago, kind of with the idea of supporting and growing that program. Now they're a very vibrant community at the AIS building on Diamond Avenue. And students come here, and if they're in need of clothes for school or clothes for a dance or for a job, we help connect them with those needs, also with basic hygiene products that students in foster care or who experience homelessness may be in need of. And it is a wonderful place. I encourage anyone who hasn't been to Hangers to come and just feel the atmosphere. There's caring staff. It's like a store. There's new
Yeah, it
and
really is.
gently
It
used
does not
clothes.
look like just a room
No,
where people
no,
have dropped items off. I mean, you
no.
feel like you're almost shopping in a store the way it's
Yes.
organized, and the volunteers that you have that work there and the staff that work there, just amazing.
Yeah. So students can come and not feel like, I'm in need and I'm here because things are not great. They can feel like this is a cool experience. I get to go shopping. And that's what we hear from many of them. This is the first time I've gone shopping and picked my own clothes versus
Mhm.
hand me downs. So that's Hangers. And right there down the hall at AIS is also Teacher Locker. And this is a more recent program collaboration between several different groups, including Evansville Teachers Parents Association, Evansville Teachers Association, Public
Retired
Education
teachers,
Foundation,
yeah.
retired teachers, just a nice conglomerate of like minded friends who said, We want to support teachers because we know they spend a lot of money out of their own pocket and classroom supplies. How could we come around them? So, this is a place where teachers can go and get free classroom supplies and sometimes equipment, depending on what's there. And we get a lot of retiring teachers who say, "Hey, I'm retiring. I have a classroom library. Like, let me donate this, and there might be a new teacher who could use it." It's a great opportunity. Every year, teachers come and shop, and there's different times of the year when it's available. We give away a lot of books to teachers as well so that they can get it in the hands of students. And we think this is a good channel for making sure donations for classroom supplies actually make it to the classroom where students are using them, not just, to students who may use them at home but never bring them to school.
Well, it really is, Ellie, just amazing when you talk about everything we've shared in the last several minutes that the EVSC Foundation is able to provide support for, help for, helping our students, supporting our students. And I know, again, you're so fortunate to have not only talented staff, but great partnerships, great volunteers,
Mhm.
great donors and supporters to allow you to do this work. So if I'm listening to this and I want to reach out to the foundation, where can I learn more about it?
Well, our website is a good resource, which you can explore all our programs from summer musical to hangers, teacher locker, and that's at evscfoundation.org. You can also call us at 812-435-0913, or you can reach directly via email at info@evscfoundation.org. And I would say, my shameless plug for events coming up. We have the Hangers Gala on March 5th. So if
Yes.
you're particularly interested in that idea of supporting students with clothing and basic hygiene products, the gala is a great opportunity right around the corner. So reach to us and we can get you set together with tickets, or you can provide an auction item that will help fundraise for the Hangers program.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that's a lot of great information. I hope
Yeah.
this helps people. First of all, welcome, not just welcome, but welcome back, Ellie. We're
Yeah.
glad to have you back this time in a different role, not an educator per
Yeah.
se, but with the EVSC Foundation. And major thanks to you and to your entire team for just making great things happen for kids and working with members of our community. And thanks for taking the time to come in today. And we're going to share this, and hopefully people will be reaching out.
That's awesome. I welcome this opportunity and I hope to be back to talk about more programs.
Okay, anytime. Thanks, Ellie.